Welcome back to another episode of Out Loud Geek, where we discuss news and views about pop culture, science fiction, fantasy, food, cooking, the outdoors, and more. In recent days, a lot of people have been becoming increasingly familiar with a particular singer and performer after some very serious accusations came to light. I have only spoken about her in one of my previous videos when I talked about her wardrobe at this year's Grammys, in which I described her outfit as essentially making her look like a pile of raked autumn leaves if she had the hood up. I didn't mention her though when I talked about how bad the third season of the Star Wars series The Mandalorian was on Disney Plus earlier this year. She had appeared in an episode alongside Jack Black as a guest star, but it was not a particularly well-received episode for viewers. That performer is none other than the very plus-sized singer-actress known simply as Lizzo. And it's being reported as of today that the NFL has dropped Lizzo for consideration to perform at the 53rd Super Bowl that is scheduled to be held in Las Vegas, Nevada in February 2024. Earlier this month, the 35-year-old pop star, who has marketed herself as a body-positive activist, found herself at the center of a sensational scandal when three of her former dancers, Crystal Williams, Noelle Rodriguez, and Ariana Davis, filed a lawsuit against her, accusing Lizzo of creating what they described as a hostile work environment. Now, an NFL insider has exclusively told the Daily Mail that the ensuing backlash over the allegations has prompted the organization to immediately drop Lizzo from Super Bowl halftime show contention, having previously had her name in the mix as one of the frontrunners for the 2024 spectacle. In the wake of the allegations that Lizzo vehemently denies, the source said, quote, "Talks of Lizzo being a part of the halftime festivities or performing the national anthem are dead now that she is surrounded by scandal," unquote. As Lizzo is removed from the potential lineup at this year's Super Bowl, which is taking place in Las Vegas in February 2024, her team is facing a desperate struggle to salvage her career and reputation. A second source close to the singer told the Daily Mail that her team is, quote, "desperately trying to come up with a strategy to save her sinking ship. It is becoming more and more difficult with more people coming forth accusing her of extremely inappropriate acts." And that's exactly the sort of thing that the NFL will do its very best to avoid if it can. The source further said, quote, "Lizzo has raked in a massive amount of money, but her minute is pretty much up, it seems, and no one knows if she will be able to recover from this. If she speaks out, her statements are shredded. If she stays quiet, she is called a coward. Either way, it does not appear at this moment that she can recover from this," unquote. Earlier this week, attorneys representing three of Lizzo's former backup dancers who filed a lawsuit over claims of weight shaming and a very naughty form of harassment at work revealed that they now have 6 other people who have submitted complaints along similar lines. Ron Zambrano, a lawyer whose practice specializes in employment law and is representing backup dancers Ariana Davis, Crystal Williams, and Noelle Rodriguez, said his firm is now looking into these claims. Zambrano told NBC News that the 6 new accusers had toured with Lizzo, either as backup dancers or on her Amazon Studios show, describing the complaints as centering around an alleged, quote, "sexually charged environment," unquote, on Lizzo's tour and failure to pay employees. And failure to pay employees is always grounds for a lawsuit. It comes after dancers Davis, Williams, and Rodriguez sat down for an interview with Good Morning America last week, in which they branded the 35-year-old pop star fatphobic and shared sordid stories from their time touring with their former employer. Davis said, quote, "I know it's alarming to hear that Lizzo, a plus-size woman who preaches body positivity, would be fatphobic essentially, but I want to challenge people to understand that it hurts people," unquote. Rodriguez, meanwhile, recounted the moment Lizzo allegedly threatened her after she told her she wanted to resign because she felt unsafe and disrespected, saying, quote, She basically started to ball up her fists and crack her knuckles, and she was like, "You're so effing lucky right now," as she's like inching her way towards me, unquote. Rodriguez then claimed Lizzo's best friend jumped off the couch and had to physically restrain her. And if that did actually happen, that would have been incredibly difficult to do. Davis also teared up while describing an incident when Lizzo allegedly pressured her into touching a nude performer at a naughty adult show in Amsterdam. Davis said, quote, "She started a chant after I said no multiple times. I briefly touched the performer and withdrew my hands, and everyone kind of burst into laughter, because me of all people, they thought it was funny that I was touching this performer." The dancers also claimed that they felt like their job was always on the line. "Our jobs are always being threatened. I personally never had job security in this whole entire time," unquote. She and Williams were fired, while Rodriguez resigned in what she claims was a response to the pair's alleged treatment. In their lawsuit, Davis, Williams, and Rodriguez accused the Grammy-winning singer, as well as Big Girl Big Touring and dance team captain Shirlene Quigley, of creating a, quote, "sexually charged and uncomfortable," unquote, work environment. The trio claimed that while on a concert trip with the artist to Amsterdam in February 2023, Lizzo invited them for a night out on the town that ended in the city's red light district. And I can tell you right now that a red light district is not an appropriate place for an employer to take employees to. I also decided not to read the next quote since it describes naughty adult acts involving bananas. So I'll leave that up to viewers of my video to read that on their own. The dancers added Lizzo allegedly pressured and goaded Ariana into touching one of the nude performer's breasts. In another instance, the plaintiffs claim Lizzo invited the dancers to a club in Paris, but failed to mention that it was a nude cabaret bar. And I can safely guarantee that if you were to ask anyone who works for an HR department whether that's a good idea for a supervisor to do, the answer is going to be a resounding no. The suit claims that the dancers were shocked and that Lizzo, quote, "robbed them of the choice not to participate," unquote. And as I said earlier, that's not a good thing for an employer to do. Since the lawsuit was filed, Lizzo has lost more than 120,000 followers on Instagram. Hours after the lawsuit was made public, Lizzo's former creative director Quinn Whitney Wilson and dancer Courtney Hollenquist claimed they experienced similar mistreatment. In response, Lizzo wrote a lengthy statement, of which I will read only a shortened, paraphrased version. Lizzo claims that the past few days have been extremely difficult due to her ethics, morals, respectfulness, and character being questioned and criticized. She also claims that the allegations, which she describes as being sensationalized stories, are false, unbelievable, and too outrageous to be addressed, and are coming from former employees who she claims admitted to her that their behavior was inappropriate and unprofessional. In their Good Morning America interview, the dancers addressed Lizzo's response, with Davis stating, quote, "This post felt like a punch," unquote. Williams expressed disappointment that Lizzo did not provide, quote, "acknowledgement of our feelings when her brand is to preach about women empowerment. I'm honestly mind blown at the hypocrisy just of everything that you stand for. You're contradicting right before our very eyes," unquote. Rodriguez added, quote, "For the many women that have, because it's mainly women, that have come forward and said they felt the same, or have shared their stories with us because they don't want to publicly share it yet, it completely kind of invalidates all of our experience and our trauma and our pain," unquote. In reality, it will be up to the courts to decide who is telling the truth in this lawsuit. I don't know which side is, but the allegations have definitely hurt Lizzo, and if they are true, then those who were wronged should be recompensed for what they went through. For an employer to take an employee to an adult entertainment center that involves nudity and who knows what else is definitely inappropriate under any circumstances. It's equally wrong for an employer to force employees into uncomfortable situations or actions during off-work hours because it can lead employees into assuming that if they don't participate, that they could be fired or watch their jobs be otherwise adversely impacted. Expecting employees to become involved in highly questionable activities is not only very disrespectful, it's definite grounds for a lawsuit. And in this case, the allegations aren't just coming from only one person. They're currently coming from 3 people and possibly more. So yeah, Lizzo's time in the spotlight may be over. We'll all just have to wait and see how all of this plays out. Thanks for watching today, and a huge thanks to everyone who has subscribed to our channel. We appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, and please feel free to share a comment. If you'd like to help support this channel, please press the red subscribe button, and please press the bell to receive notifications for new content. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter by clicking on the links in the description. Until next time, this is Out Loud Geek.